As much as I love Anne and the Plantars, there is just no denying that some of the best Amphibia episodes are the ones that shift away from our usual frog perspective and focus on the more villainous side of things with the Toads and one brash teenager, Grime and Sasha. From their story's epic beginning in Prison Break, to perspectives colliding in the tear-jerking episode Reunion, to their current plotting in Toadcatcher, these two just managed to be absolute showstoppers, overcoming their odds. After clashing with the Newtopian General Yunan, for Grime abandoning his position at Toad Tower following its destruction, he's now all fired up and setting his sights on a prize greater than the Brewing Rebellion inspired by Hop Hop. Going for the crown, Grime wants to storm the capital of Amphibia itself, remove King Andrias from power, and rule Amphibia with an iron toad fist. There's just one problem. Grime and Sasha no longer have an army. They have Percy and Braddock, but that's far from the strength and numbers that they need to pull off such a high-stakes mission. And that is where today's theory comes into play, one I've been mentioning for what feels like months now, and very excited to dig into today. Amphibia has consistently built up Grime's need for a proper army, and thanks to the Season 2 premiere, we know exactly where he can get one. In a perfect narrative decision for both Sasha's character and the sake of badassery, I believe they'll be pulling up to Newtopia with an army of robots. So let's speculate and dive in. When we got properly acquainted with Sasha and Grime in Prison Break, we saw how much of a joke the Toad army had apparently become. Grime frustrated with his soldiers for becoming soft and allowing the frogs to step out of line. This is where Sasha came in and quickly turned everything around for Grime, establishing her persuasive and manipulative traits, having Grime gas up his soldiers with compliments and pats on the back, thus seeing a recovery in their performance in return. With the new second-in-command being none other than a human outsider offering a new perspective, it seemed as if the Toad army was on the come-up, becoming a force to be reckoned with. And then Reunion happened, which served as a huge blow to both Grime and Sasha. Sasha feels as if she needs to be in control. She's someone who bosses around others, but thanks to Anne and shenanigans from Wally, not only did her best friend stand up to her and cause a rift, but Grime lost Toad Tower and, off-screen, his army. So what the hell is the solution here? If they're going to storm Newtopia, not only do they need an army, they need one they view as obedient. An army that'll not only listen to orders, but won't abandon them the second things pivot into an unforeseen direction. But not only do I believe that's something they can't achieve by rounding up new Toads, or even trying to appeal to the Frog Rebellion, but it's something that Grime and Sasha aren't even in the position to do. Because Sasha isn't equipped to pull out her usual tactics and tendencies without being reminded of Anne. Granted, that won't stop her from doubling down and trying, but I think that's something we'll see her unload onto Marcy when things inevitably go down with the whole Calamity Box and Temple situation. Truth is, they want a dehumanized army that'll carry out every order without failure or question. But they can't just strip humanity from inhabitants of Amphibia, not just because it's simply not right, but it directly clashes with Sasha's approach, appealing to emotions and the human condition in order to get what she wants. But again, now if she faces pushback or any kind of difficulty when persuading subordinates, she'll immediately flash back to Anne and either shut down or get angry, nullifying her process as a whole. Sasha and Grime have both reached a point where they need to bark orders without any pushback, alongside needing well-trained muscle and loads of ammunition in order to even dethrone Andrias in the first place. Because as we've seen throughout Season 2, Newtopia's weapons, measures of defense, and soldiers are nothing to scoff at. Luckily, a little beyond the outskirts of Wartwood offers exactly what Grime and Sasha are looking for: the robot factories. You know how Anne and the Plantars entered one of the factories, activated the whole robot making process, but they didn't find the disc needed for it, so Spriggan put Hop Hop's rules of the road, seemingly causing the machine to malfunction, the factory crumbling down with it, but one of the robot soldiers, aka Frobo, emerged from the debris and has been following the Plantars since? Yeah, that location is the next move for Grime and Sasha. Keep in mind, the Plantars only decimated one of the abandoned factories. There were plenty more surrounding it. Hop Hop remarked how mysterious the factories were to him, and assumably most of Amphibia, as they predate the creation of the valley itself. However, I'm gonna put in a little mini theory right now of what these bad boys are. thanks to the mid-season finale revealing that underneath Newtopia Castle's basement are literal otherworldly creatures ranging from shadowfish to mossman, coupled with the revelation that the Calamity Box was used to travel to a multitude of worlds, I think Andrias' ancestors that he claimed to be peaceful scientists were obviously not as innocent as they were made out to be. I believe these scientists were invading other worlds with these robot armies, and for reasons not yet known, abducted various species, bringing them back to Amphibia. Assumably, quite a handful of these creatures escaped into the wild, explaining why Amphibia is so surreally lethal. Surreal-lethal. Is that a word? Can we combine those two? We can safely assume Season 1's Mossman was one of these escaped specimens. Side note, after watching all of Season 2 thus far, rewatching the episode Wally and Ann just hit like a truck. That episode is so important, and it's so amazing that Amphibia can completely recontextualize the Season 1 episode in more ways than one, and make the emotional core land that much more. Seriously, I love this show, and I'm so happy to see how many pieces were put into place back then. But back on track, I also suspect that the Scorpio Leo from Season 2's Ann Hunter is another example, but speculating what is and what isn't needed to Amphibia is another video for another time. But about that disc that Sprig failed to input, this is what Grime and Sasha need, as assumably, that disc has the information and programming necessary for these soldiers to function as competent warriors that can carry out a coup. The next time we see Grime and Sasha, I'm hoping that it won't take long for them to stumble upon the disc and head towards the factories. I feel as if Grime's status serves as some leeway for the writers. Because of his past and now former rank, it's not unreasonable to suggest that he could possess some knowledge on the robot factories, even if minimal. Hell, if Hop Hop knew they were simply factories, why wouldn't Grime know what kind of factories? I'm just saying, it wouldn't surprise me if the next Grime and Sasha episode opens up with them following a lead to the disc because of Grime already being aware of the factories. If you were planning a coup and were aware of factories used to make robot soldiers, wouldn't you immediately jump to that? It's not like you could before, but who knows? The only thing we're certain of when it comes to these characters is that by the end of this season, Ann and Sasha will have a rematch at the third and final temple for the Calamity Stones. Can they fit in a Newtopia invasion beforehand? Well, we know that there are 2 more half-hour episodes remaining in the season, along there being just 9 episodes left of the season in general, so I think they can. Especially since Grime and Sasha's storyline is one that has had just enough development off screen that moves the story along without us missing anything too important. Like, we didn't really need to see the moment Grime was branded as a traitor or a fugitive. Confirming that through minor dialogue is all they needed. So if the next time we saw Grime and Sasha, if that adventure caps off with them either obtaining the disc or arriving at a factory, and then the next time we see them they arrive at Newtopia with a shit ton of robots, I do believe that'd be all we need. I also foolishly assumed that the visuals in Season 2's opening were initially just a dramatic retelling of the reunion clash for the sake of a cool factor, but this is clearly not the case. And after rewatching the series and becoming reimmersed in the world, not only is this clear that this is taking place at the Volcano Temple, and equipped with the magic sword she obtained in combat camp, but Sasha's shoulder pad also has a Zelda-esque bullseye insignia, which I'm assuming is the mark of Grime and Sasha's own rebellion. Grime and Sasha pulling up with a robot army in Newtopia, only to learn that the king isn't there, but has already embarked to a rendezvous point for the Calamity Box, and rushing to the third temple where Ann and Marty already are, sounds like quite the epic arc to finish out a second season. I'm also assuming that the Frobo following the Plantars is a special case, we just don't know it yet, as their data would be going off of Hop Hop's rules of the road, which would by extension create the one robot that Sasha can't boss around. And if they have an encounter, Sasha not recognizing that this robot is literally built different, sounds like a scenario so intense, I can already feel myself shaking. But as always, these are just my thoughts, and I want to hear yours. What do you think? What do you believe is Grime and Sasha's next move? Do you agree that the robot army is looking likely, or do you suggest something else is up their sleeve? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at RoundtableVids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at UsherFox. We're also on Instagram. Special thanks to JANKYBONES for creating an awesome thumbnail. For more of their amazing art, you can find them on Instagram and Twitter at BoneJanky, Tumblr at JANKYBONES, and subscribe to their YouTube channel. Link in the description. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please sort of like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. UsherFox, signing out.